Total Schmidt Show Season 3 is upon us. Tune in every week. I talk to entertainers from all over the world. Singers, dancers, comics, musicians, drummers, blah, blah, blah. All kinds. Techs, even some cruise directors. Most of the entertainers I talk to work on cruise ships. If you ever wanted to know what entertainers do, how they get through their day, any of the behind-the-scenes stuff about entertaining, we'll talk about that stuff here, as well as we'll delve into some of the entertainers and some of their works, some of their albums coming up, some of the things they've done in the past, things you can look forward to in the future. All that stuff you can catch here on Total Schmidt Show. But either way, get yourself a pizza, a beer, some bourbon, light up a cigar, or some sort of joint, or whatever type of crutch or vice you need to get through the evening, and sit back and enjoy whatever it is I put together this week on... Hey, thanks for tuning in to Total Schmidt Show. It's Tuesday. It's time to talk to another entertainer. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it. I would appreciate it more if you subscribed. Click whatever you got to click to subscribe to the podcast. It's on all the platforms. If you're listening to it, you already know that right now. If you're watching the podcast, you already subscribed to the YouTube channel. You already follow the website, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for being here. I appreciate it. Feel free to follow me on social medias at Mr. Lenny Schmidt on all platforms. Ajai Sanders is with me today, comic who I have never met. She's awesome. We worked together this week. She was nice enough to sit down and do the podcast. She was in LA around the same time I was when I started out. I started out in '88. She was around the same time. She worked down there at the Hollywood clubs, the Crenshaw area. She was doing shows there. She worked on Def Comedy Jam quite a bit. She was also on Different World, tons of sitcom work, and now I get to see her do her thing on the cruise ships. Another pro, which I love working with. Comics, been around a bit. She's got a great. We're very similar in a lot of ways. She's very present on stage. It's very cool to talk to her. It's very enlightening, and we had a great conversation, and I learned a lot about her. So sit back and enjoy my conversation with Ajai Sanders.
I don't like being too cold.
I could throw on a sweater and I'm okay.
Yeah,
I can't sleep when it's too hot though.
I guess I'm in the middle too, because like now I don't like being too hot either, because I'm like totally fanning covers, and so yeah, true. I just want to be comfortable, but anyway, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, plus the older I get, I notice I need to be warmer.
Yeah.
I'm bringing sweaters with me
everywhere. You got to keep those joints moist and lubricated.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Everywhere I'm cold. Mm-hmm. Like, what's wrong with you? I need a sweater.
The blood starts to like sort of slow down.
I guess so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we can talk about anything bad about a line. I don't want, I'll pull out, or I don't want to talk about. You know what I mean?
About what?
Cruise lines. You know what I mean?
No, I don't have anything negative.
Yeah. So we try to generally keep it positive, and I really like talking about the show, what you think on stage, how you put it together. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a resume, but we just kind of talk about traveling. You're in. This is my first time meeting you. That's cool. How long you been with Carnival? Shifts, you said,
I started working in 2019. Right. Yeah. Mm. So I got in
before COVID crap.
Yeah. So I worked for about 6 months, and then the shutdown happened.
There's a lot of people that I just met recently. The guy I worked with last week was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but yeah, they got hired in 2019, and then everything
shut down a year later. Yeah.
Right.
So, but it was cool because I got a chance to do other things. Like I did my own podcast with a bunch of comedians. Well, so how it started was I just called a lot of people and said, hey, I'm doing a Zoom room. Mm-hmm. And so the Zoom room turned into a podcast called Multiple Personalities. And it was just me and four or five other comedians. That's how Vince and I became really close. And then Thea Vidal came on once, and I had Kid from Kid and Play on, and Flex Alexander. Like we had a lot of my celebrity friends, if you will, showed up, and it was fun. And so Bob Sumner from Def Comedy Jam, one of the producers of Def Comedy Jam, the guy that actually hired me to do Def Jam, like he was on. And so he was like, do you remember you was on with Bernie Mac? I was like, no, I was too nervous. I don't remember anything about that, except I just wanted to get through it and not fail.
You get to work with Bernie Mac?
Yeah.
That's
and so
fucking awesome.
yeah, we were on the same show, and it was crazy. I remember I did well, but then when he came on, it just felt like the building was about to fall down, because the laughter was just that high. And I was like, who the fuck is this? What's going on? And I walked out and he was just destroying the entire theater. It was fabulous.
There's a documentary on Chicago comedy. Have you seen it? A friend of mine did it.
All jokes aside, Raymond Lambert or somebody else?
It's Michael Alexander and Scott Perlman put it together. I forgot what it's called. I don't like the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. I'll figure it out real quick. You know what? But anyway, it talks about it brings up Bernie. When I early on in my career, I didn't know who Bernie was, and when I was doing a club in Lyons, and this is right after Ali Leroy split from his duo. He was in a group called Mary Wong, I think it was called.
I know Ali.
Yeah, and I met Ali at the Comedy Boom. And he was just starting out, and he was asking me advice. He was just starting out doing solo stand-up. And I told him some stuff, and he mentioned Bernie Mac. I go, who's Bernie Mac? And he looked at me like I was a fucking alien.
Yeah,
right? And I
what
go,
do
I
you
have no idea.
mean?
But the thing the Chicago documentary points out is how segregated the comedy in Chicago was.
Yeah.
Like Bernie and the comics from All Jokes Aside and the clubs on the South Side, Zanies wouldn't let... It was hard for them to get in those main rooms.
Yeah.
And there was always a weird justification, weird reason, but Bernie crushed everywhere. Like everywhere. So that video from the Apollo is legendary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would love to have an opportunity just to meet that guy, just to work with him. That's good for you. That's great. That is really cool.
And then one of my good friends, Kalita Smith, played his wife on the Bernie Mac show. And so one day she had just invited me down. I went on the set to visit, and he was just a gentleman, a complete, utter gentleman. And he wasn't, what I loved the most about him was that he knew, like he lived inside of himself. Like he wasn't caught up in the Hollywood game.
Right.
He wasn't, he didn't believe his own hype. You know what I mean?
Man, that's cool. We were talking about that a little bit the other night.
Yeah.
About the whole...
Yeah. And I'd be like, oh God, Bernie, this is awesome. What a great show this is. And he was like, he'd always say, come on, man, AJ, you know what it is. And I'd be like, yep, I know what it is. And he was just and we didn't know each other very well. Like we weren't, I was closer to people like Tommy Davidson, Steve White, Martin Lawrence, those guys. Like we were more of we had more of a camaraderie than Bernie and I did, but Bernie treated me as if I was an old friend. I think he treated everybody that way. And
I heard really great things about Out of the Loop is the name of that documentary.
Out of the Loop, okay.
Yeah, and they shot me for it and a bunch of comics. There's a long story behind the production of that. But,
okay.
But when the final product came together, it focused a lot on the segregation of comedy in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I heard about, Chicago is probably one of the most segregated cities I've ever been to in the first place.
Right.
So it just makes sense that, that was the case. But I still love Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities, just the beauty of it, the small town feel with the big city appeal,
Yeah.
And I didn't really know anything about Bernie until I started working All Jokes Aside.
Right.
And, that was the name that would float around. I'm like, who is Bernie Mac? And he was working at B's Kitchen.
Okay.
And so it was one of those things where if you work one, you can't work
Chicago,
the other.
all the clubs
LA was the same way.
They're all pissy.
Comedy Act Theater. Like if you work
the
the
Improv
comedy
in the store were like that for a while too.
Improv in the store, and then the Factory was just kind of like the third guy, the third wheel.
Right.
And so the same thing in the hood though. Like there was a club that opened around the corner from the Comedy Act Theater, which was called the Fun House. And the owner of the Comedy Act was like, well, you can't work here. I'm like, dude, we're on the same block. Like, who cares? Like the audience, you're not going to lose your audience.
Yeah, right.
And so anyway, I thought it was just really ridiculous, but we all survived, and then when Robin Harris died, all of us moved. All of us guys that was on that circuit, we moved to the mainstream because there was no other place.
Right.
So we went to the Comedy Store, and so then they gave us a lot of urban nights.
Right.
Right. We had Monday nights at the Improv, and then I think I can't remember, and they called it like Cotton Club or something. It was crazy. I was like, what
shitty
the
is that?
fuck?
Really?
Yeah, I never worked. I was like, fuck that. I want to work. I want to get my name on the wall.
Yeah.
I want to do the nights that Seinfeld is doing, and I
Yeah,
want to
right.
be on when those guys are here, And then I ended up doing my own variety comedy show there at the Comedy Store in the main room for a while called That Time of the Month.
Okay.
And the reason I named it that, was because it was female oriented, once a month, obviously, but it was about the fact that when I would go on the road with, I was on the road with Chris Rock for 2 tours, and I was on the road with Jamie Foxx, and I was on the road with George Wallace. And so when I would come back to town, nobody knew me.
Right.
And
Right.
so I couldn't get any spots. I
Right,
couldn't get
right,
any
yeah.
stage time. And then I noticed that no women were really getting any stage time. Like maybe there'd be one of us, And so I was like, what if I flipped it?
Yeah.
And so I flipped it around. Mitzi loved me at the time, and she was like, "You're really funny." And I was like, "Mitzi, I have an idea. I want to do my own variety show here." Well, you can't have the bar. I'm like, "Okay, can I have the door?" She was like, "Okay."
Hey, that's the end of the free portion of Total Schmidt Show. You want to see the rest of the video? You want to see it all? Hit the link below. Join the website. $2 a month or $20 for the year. You'll get upwards of 40 episodes. 40 video episodes, full video episodes of Total Schmidt Show. Join the website. Or you can listen for free. Link is below as well. However, I highly recommend you go the paid option because then I get your money.